John chapter 6, verse 52. At that, the Jews argued among themselves, "How can this man give us his flesh to eat?" Now, on its own, that's an odd question. It's because they're thinking purely of the physical. And let's remember that Jesus has just said that he's the bread of life. It's a spiritual picture. He's the better manna from heaven that gives eternal life, not just sustaining physical life. And then in the previous verse in 51, he had this little peculiar ending to it where he said, "The bread that I will give for the life of the world is my flesh." And immediately they're like, ew, cannibalism, this physical, we got to eat his flesh. Now, some people would think that maybe this is a picture of looking forward to the Lord's Supper, where there's the bread and the cup, and the cup signifies the blood of Christ. And Jesus at this point hasn't mentioned that you also have to drink his blood. That's coming in the next verses. But it's more likely that they wouldn't have been thinking about the Lord's Supper at all, because Jesus instituted that at the Passover, the night before he went to the cross, tying it to the Passover. It's more likely that he's pointing to the Passover. He's pointing to this idea that the Passover lamb died, and died in the place of man, and they had to eat that lamb, and in the lamb's death, the people lived. Also, the blood that painted the doorpost and marked the people. Jesus seems to be maybe pointing to that, and more so pointing to what he's going to do on the cross. He's going to give up his physical body. And so it's this big picture. And all they're thinking about is just the physical nuances of it, and the cannibalism, and what he's saying. And of course, as we've seen earlier, they're far from God. And so they're grumbling. They're not going to hear what he has to say. They're going to push away. They're going to find every excuse not to listen and say, oh, cannibalism. Oh, his flesh. Oh, this is weird. Oh, who is this guy? Because they don't have eyes to see or ears to hear.